Welcome back to Casting Seeds. I'm Savannah, your holistic health practitioner and host.
And I'm Jeremiah, your co-host.
And you're listening to the only holistic health podcast that uses God's singular truth to give you individualized discernment.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back, love.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Glad to be back.
This is going to be a good episode because I don't think we've gone over this specifically in the past.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it about?
Also, really quickly, for people who have been asking, I am 30 and a half weeks pregnant.
Yep.
We have 10 more weeks.
It's like 70. No, actually, I think it's like 69 days left.
Yeah, I don't even know. All I know is it's a little too soon. So,
That's funny.
sorry, I'm like choking on spit. I'm so nervous. No, I am excited to have Penelope. There's a lot that needs to happen and a lot of new changes that are happening because of it. So
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, though? Like, I feel like every time we jump on here, it's like new changes,
I know.
new things. God is constantly working, and it's amazing to be able to sit there and witness and not try to force our hands against his.
Mm-hmm. And I got a little bit of, not from the episode of the podcast, but from what I talked about last week with the LA riots and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I got a little bit of clapback from some neighbors around here in my hometown who disagreed with things that I put on Instagram. So that was interesting. And I told them to listen to the podcast, but of course, refusal.
Instagram fans, not podcast fans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
well,
funny.
I think this one person in particular, she blamed pregnancy and stuff. And I was like, well, you still took 3 days you wrote to me for 3 days. Listening to a 30-minute podcast episode wouldn't have, this would explain it in depth. But
Yeah.
I think the reason why I'm talking about last week and bringing it into this week is because a lot of these things have to do with heart issues.
Okay.
And specifically today, we're going to talk about some red flags. And yes, you can take it into any industry, but specifically in holistic health, what to stay away from when it comes to holistic health practitioners, naturopathic doctors, chiropractor, I don't care. Anyone under the holistic branch. But yes, you can apply this to other stuff as well.
A mechanic, a plumber.
Yeah.
Contractor.
And the reason why I'm bringing up last week to now is because this might offend some people again, where I swear anything where it comes down to like genuine heart issues or people checking in with the Lord or not taking verses out of context. That's a big one. That was a lot of stuff that she did, that she tried to bring up with immigration and all that. And I was like, I don't really care about all of the things that you're talking about. I care about where your heart is. Like, why are you talking to me about this? What are you trying to change in my heart and why? What do you disagree with?
Yeah.
Why don't you when I tell you that I disagree with people sinning in general, doesn't matter if it's a lie, breaking the law, or breaking God's law, all of it's sin. And we need to help bring those people to Christ. Amen?
Yeah.
And she said no, that she didn't believe in repentance.
Yeah.
But was claiming Christ. So that was an interesting.
So one of the things that if you want to find out if someone's a Christian, ask them the gospel.
Yeah.
If they can't say the same gospel that you're saying,
well, no,
they're not.
Not that we're saying, that God says in the Bible.
Yeah. So yes.
Because you may not even have the proper gospel down.
Correct. I'm pretty sure I got it, but.
Oh, well, I'm just saying. Did you mean you as in me, Savannah?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like the listener.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's only one gospel, and
one true gospel.
It's all over New Testament, and it's also in the Old Testament a little bit here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you really want to probe somebody's heart, using the gospel and asking, what do you have a problem with? Why are you going against God?
Yeah.
Take it out of, why are you coming after me? Or why are you defending all this when it's only about God? You got to bring it back to the original
Which is,
point.
and that's the thing, even with what we're going to talk about today with red flags and holistic health.
Yeah.
Not saying that everyone on your health team is going to be Christian. I hope they are. That's so cool if you can do that. If you can find a heart surgeon, a brain surgeon, I don't know, anything that you could think of being Christian, that's amazing. But it's also not very likely. And when you're interviewing people, you still want to probe their hearts, even if they're not saved. So that's the major thing that we are going to talk about today. And again, with last week and people kind of getting upset with the things that I had to say, the reason why they were upset is because everything that they tried to bring up with politics, immigration, different laws, I kept saying, why is that your focus, and why are you not gospel centered? Why are you worried about loving on all, like, a group of people when you don't even know if you're called to love on those people? And the number one verse that she took out of context is actually, it was in Leviticus. It's about, I forget where it was in Leviticus, but it's about the Israelites loving on the Egyptians. And it says to take them into your, like, take foreigners into your home. And then I called her out and I said, well, here's the question then, because you're using this verse out of context. That was specifically for them to be able to love on the Egyptians because they left with them in the Exodus.
Yeah.
So my question is to you, knowing with all of the rapes that have happened, all of the deaths, and like what they're even doing to people, like just in LA, and I'm not saying Hispanics in general. I'm Hispanic. I don't think every Hispanic person is like that. But what I'm saying is, would you be willing to go to the border right now? Just grab some random man and say, come and stay with me and my family, with my toddler, with my husband, me, I'm pregnant. Would you be willing to do that?
Me, myself?
No.
I would not do it.
No. Well, she ignored what I asked.
Yeah. I saw this video. I think they're in the Netherlands, and this guy's walking around and he's recording people and he's asking, they have a big old sign, adoption. You should adopt, not have kids. And he walks up and he's like, have you adopted anyone? No.
No.
And like,
And most
he
of them
walked
have
up
had
like
their own
12
kids.
women and none of them adopted. I'm like, why are you trying to preach something you don't do?
Yeah, none of them adopted and a lot of them had kids. Yeah, it's that same concept. So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, if you really have conviction or a heart that has a lot of, what do I struggle with again? I can't even think of it.
Justice.
Thank you.
That's an easy one for me.
Yeah. Just always, if you guys are ever worried, just ask your husband or wife, what do I struggle in? And they'll tell you faster than you can even remember.
So true.
So I have a huge heart for justice. And when I see injustice, it really makes me angry. Like, I want to go do something about it. And Jeremiah, especially recently, now being pregnant, I've had a lot of injustice.
I'm not pregnant.
Well, no. I've had a lot of injustice, not just done to me during my pregnancy, but to us as a couple.
Yeah.
And God has really, like, even just for the safety and health of Penelope, I've had to learn to step back and allow God to just be the true justice in my life, and to not even want bad things to happen, right? But to have that, like, man, I want justice. I want there to be like a good, like, outcome out of this, but also I want them to understand God's love. And that's the hardest part, is after the justice part, wanting someone to truly come to the Lord.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I want to bring that into this episode today, because there is a lot of injustice that I see even in holistic health. I cannot tell you how many clients that I get that call me crying, that have said, I saw this holistic doctor. One of my clients, she got her trachea scraped. They just hooked in on the front of her throat and scrubbed really hard to get to the front of her neck, which it is a thing. I've done it, and there are ways to do it that are safe. But she's had permanent throat damage ever since. And then I tried to help her as much as I could. Not even surgery will be able to help her. She has a permanent dent in her trachea, and she'll cough and be uncomfortable unless a doctor figures out how to fix it. But I mean, it was covered by that health practitioner's insurance, but she tried to get her money back and that person vanished. I've had people who've come to me who have been seeing the same therapist, massage therapist, for 10 years, doing the same thing. Their neck never got better. Their hand never got better. Their shoulder never got better. But then in 2 or 3 visits with me, they're better. Why? And it's not an education thing. Sometimes it is, but also, and I don't blame necessarily the therapist all the time. Why are you okay with going to that same person over and over and over again?
Yeah.
So we cultivated a list of things to look at and to look for to see if there are red flags, whether it's in our industry or a different industry. And I really want you guys to understand, at the end of the day, it is your job and your accountability and your responsibility to be in charge of your own healthcare and check in with these things. 100% you. And it's also your choice to listen to those people, right? Jeremiah, you had a really good example with like a car.
Yeah. Well, just to the point where you were just saying, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. Everybody's giving you advice. You're not just showing up to pay for a service you have no idea about.
Mm-hmm.
Understand the service you're getting, and then you can decide whether or not you want it. You don't have to be like, oh, I recommend this, and then just take it at their word.
Yeah, a good prerequisite to this episode, if you're listening right now, is listening to our advocacy episode, because we break down how to be a healthcare advocate, how to do that for yourself, how to do proper research, and then go and kind of assess situations.
Yeah.
And again, take responsibility and accountability in those situations.
Absolutely.
So if you're making the choice, own it at the end of the day. Like, man, I trusted that person and it sucks. I did get burned, but it doesn't mean you can't. I can't talk today. You still got to go get your car fixed.
Yeah. So my example was earlier, if you go to a mechanic and you get your engine worked on and everything's running great, you go out driving for a week, engine light comes back on. You have to go back now. And then you do it again. Engine light comes on a week later. And this is literally what massage therapists do. This is what medicine, everything does this.
Chiropractors.
This is what good business is. Building something that will break.
Mm-hmm.
Working on somebody to the point where they feel better but are not fixed.
Yeah, that's why they say like appliances from the 1950s were built to last, because they did. They built them to last forever. But then companies realized, oh, shoot, they're not buying appliances anymore.
Yeah, same with cell phones.
Yeah.
Cell phone batteries used to last forever. And they're like, oh, man, let's put the cell phone battery inside so you can't change it.
Yeah.
And then let's make it go bad within a couple years.
Yep.
So now I have a forever customer.
So that's the thing. If you guys are anti-consumerism in that way, why then are we like that with our own bodies? Why are we okay with going back to the same doctor that you know you're going to get the same information from and the same specialty and not expand on that at all?
Yeah.
That's why having a diverse healthcare team is important, one. But two, if you don't know how to even assess a doctor or a holistic person, massage therapist, I don't care what it is, a dog trainer,
yeah,
you're not going to be able to assess anything in life. And especially if you point the blame always on them, right? Your
Absolutely.
wholehearted trust on them. And I would even say you can take this into relationships as well. Not all of these, but I'm just this idea. You can take this into every aspect of your life.
I'm interested in what you're going to say about relationships, but yeah.
Well,
let's hear it. Oh, okay.
I don't know. Okay. So basically I just want to say, when a practitioner, whether they're holistic or allopathic, is consistently having repeat clients that come back to them. Normally people think, oh my gosh, that's amazing. They're always busy. They have repeated clients. But what they don't understand is then you need to ask, well, is it repeated clients who have new issues pop up, or is it the same unresolved issue, right?
Absolutely.
That's a warning sign that something might not be working. Just a smidge.
Have you ever heard the song, that little jingle, if you got a lemon?
If, no, you won't buy a lemon in Toyota of Orange.
Yep.
A lemon car.
Essentially, so what the lemon law is if the same part goes bad 3 times, they have to replace your whole entire vehicle.
Yeah, because that means the car is a lemon.
Yeah.
It's got to go. But that's the thing. The goal of any ethical healthcare provider right,
Mm-hmm.
would be healing or having a meaningful progress, not dependency.
Yeah.
Healing or having a meaningful progress, not dependency on the provider, right? So in holistic medicine, especially, which is often promoted as like a root cause healing,
Mm-hmm.
it's so concerning if a provider is treating symptoms endlessly and not getting to the root cause, or worse, they're creating reliance for ongoing income rather than teaching clients how to regain control of their own health.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm starting with because even recently, I had someone come up to me who is a fellow therapist who told me basically straight to my face, well, you're the one who tells people to not call you unless they're hurting. And I looked at her, I'm like, yeah. Why would they come in if they're not in pain or they don't need me? And she's like, but you teach them how to not need you anymore. You literally show them how to do the work at home. And I said, yeah, because I want people to be encouraged and feel like they know their own bodies so that when they do need me, I know that they've been doing everything that they can. They just can't get that spot in their spine, or they forgot how to hook into their psoas properly, or they don't remember how to look at these labs. They trust me because they know that I'm not there just for financial gain. I'm there to
Advocate for their health.
yeah, to help them. And she was like, well, that's the worst business plan I've ever heard. And I said, I know. But then there's a reason why I get word of mouth clients and they tell their friends and their friends tell their friends because they know I'm not here just to make money off of them. I'm here to educate.
Yeah.
And that's also part of I'm not a doctor, but being a doctor, part of it is to literally educate.
But no doctors really ever take the time.
Some do, but most don't. So, but same thing I can say with holistic workers. A lot of them are there to create reoccurring clients. So if someone suggests to you guys like, hey, I have this amazing person, but they're always booked and they're so busy, it's just crazy to get in. Find out why. Why is it crazy to get in? How often do you have to see that client friend who's suggesting it?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you seeing, or I'm sorry, practitioner, why are you seeing that person over and over again? Have you been going to them years and they've never really figured out your issue?
Yeah.
Or have they honestly stepped back and said, you know what, this is actually outside of my scope of practice, but I know someone that would be great. I refer people out all the time when things are too in depth for me. It doesn't mean I won't support them or be on their health care team along the way if they need me, but I'm very honest with clients, especially
and you'll fire them too.
Yeah, well, I had a client today. She has osteoporosis of the neck. Her C1 and C2 the disc is almost completely gone. And I was honest with her and I said, listen, without a spinal fusion right there, and she's also 78. I told her, I was like, a spinal fusion would be great. It's not like that will really limit your mobility a lot, but she's super healthy. She's doing really great. But that one thing is destroying the muscles on the side of her neck. And I was like, we can rebuild the strength there only if you get that fused and healed. And I said, it's very rare where I actually want a spinal fusion, but I really do think that you should reconsider and talk to like 4 or 5 different doctors and see really if there are other options. Sometimes there are, but hers are so degenerated, I doubt it.
For that example, though, she came to you telling you that a doctor recommended that already?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I confirmed, I said, I do think that it's wise. Yeah. And here's why. Because there's no muscle rebuilding that you can do while bones are grinding together. I wish that there was like some magical fluid we could do to replace a disc in the spine, but that doesn't exist yet.
Ask those movie actors and all those famous people. They know some stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe not. That's like a whole other Illuminati theory we don't need to get into. But anyway, let's get into the 7 red flags of holistic medicine. And again, you guys can apply this to whatever you want, but I just want to make it clear that these need to happen if you are talking to someone in holistic health. I don't care if it's something as simple as a massage or you are going to them for labs and supplement work and all that stuff.
Or diet or anything.
Yeah, anything and everything. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's hear them.
Number 1, no clear timeline or exit strategy. If there's no vision for improvement, no benchmarks, no plan to reduce visits over time, this is a hard red flag signal that this person cares more about financial gain rather than healing as their motive.
Yeah. In my industry for tech and even in construction, if we don't hit milestones, no one's going to want to keep me on the job.
Yeah, you want a game plan. Like, how many months is it going to take to do X, Y, and Z? How many days? How many hours? How much money is this going to take? If there's no set game plan and you're just like, okay, yeah, I'll buy your... And that's actually the reason why I don't do any courses or like programs. It's very loose-ended because someone could need to come to me for one lab or one session and then they're better. But I tell them after a week, I want you to check in with me and let me know how you're feeling. After a week of doing what I suggest, let me know how you're feeling. And it's free. You can just check in, text me. And if we need to book another session, we do. If not, and what I wrote out in the protocol makes sense, go do it.
Yeah.
It's just
Pretty
that
easy.
simple. Yeah. And so number one, no clear timeline or exit strategy means you do not go to that person. Number two, excessive supplement pushing. Oh, this drives me insane. So if you're being sold dozens of expensive supplements, often directly from them, without clear testing, reasoning, or expected timeline, again, so adding in the first one, that's a huge red flag for profit-driven care. So that's why I give people 25% discount on full script if they use me. Any of you guys can do that, by the way. Just go onto my website and you'll see under market, you'll see my full script link, and any of you can sign up at holistic.co. You don't even have to be a client of mine. Use it. And then you get to be able to get discounts.
Is
on
it a state
all herbs.
thing? Is it only in America?
That's a good question. No, because it's also European based.
Okay. There you go.
I'm pretty sure Europe and the US for sure.
Cool.
Canada, I think as well. I don't know about everybody else. You guys will have to check and let me know. But yeah, I get 5% off of that. That's the only profit I give myself. Most people do 0% and they get a 30% profit. So
it's wild.
I give myself 5% for having this podcast and working and planning people's supplements, which I think isn't bad. But anyway, yeah, if you have any type of supplementation and they also have not done any testing or even asked to see about your background, your healthcare, red flag. If they just like do muscle testing, which we talked about on an earlier episode that I totally disagree with because it's been proven to not have any basis whatsoever, red flag.
Yeah.
So, let alone that it's also not biblical, which is why I don't like it. Are you ready for number 3?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, a one-size-fits-all protocols.
Ooh.
Oh, this makes me so angry. And I see it all the time on social media because
buy my program.
Yeah, not even just program, buy my tincture bottle. This is what kills candida. If you just take this twice a day, it works for everyone just the same. No, it doesn't. That's not even possible for it to do that. No medication in the world, no herb. Our dog just settled down. But it drives me insane. Anyway, so if they give the same plan to every single person, regardless of their age, their healthcare background, their lifestyle, everything.
Dosage changes just based off of your own body weight.
Exactly. Differences in testing or root causes. It's just not even holistic at the core.
Yeah.
At the core, it is not holistic at all. It's a cookie cutter wellness marketing fraud. 100%.
What does holistic mean?
What does holistic mean?
Yeah.
Holistic means whole body wellness and whole life wellness. So you're taking in that person's entire life and looking at it. I joke that holistic should be spelled with a W, like WHOLE. But it's looking at someone's entire health care of their mind. The real definition is mind, body, spirit, and emotional. Like physical and emotional.
Because of like stress and all that stuff.
Yeah. You take it. And then also too, you also have to take into account family health history, not even just genetics. That person. Exactly. So how on earth could you tell me, yeah, just take 5 drops of this tincture.
Yeah.
Or just do sunlight every day. It's the only way you should get vitamin D. It's absolute BS. It literally makes me angry. And answering questions in that Facebook group, the Free Talks and Living, I love it. But the one thing that pisses me off the most are the people who come in and say, this worked for me, and give like a whole breakdown of like a protocol. And I'm like, you don't know. It's not even safe to recommend. You don't know this person's healthcare history. You don't even know their age. You don't even know the other, like they could have allergies. It makes me so mad. Which comes to the next one, number 4, fear-based tactics. This, I want to punch people in the face.
Why is that? Explain.
Because if you're told you're going to worsen without the specific help, or a doctor's tell you like the doctors are all wrong.
Yeah.
That no doctor is good. Or they use like fear to keep you coming back. That's manipulative and it's untrustworthy. And I can't, again, I'll go back to that Facebook group just because I answer questions often, but I also get it in my office quite often. I don't trust any doctors. I don't trust any studies. Okay. So you don't trust any science whatsoever, even though everything in holistic health is backed up by science. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
There's a point and a purpose. There's a reason why holistic and allopathic medicine, which is Western medicine, work hand in hand together. You need both. There's a point in time where, yeah, you have gangrene in your foot. I'm sorry, but holistic medicine's not going to fix that unless you want to cut it off. That's pretty much...
Yeah.
And even then, a lot of allopathic medicine won't, and it's time to cut off the foot.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. Like, there's a reason. There's sometimes a time for antibiotics or antifungals, like extreme, like hard, or surgery to get cut open and sewn back up again. And there are also times to just take a tea. And to go for a walk.
Go smell the roses.
Yeah. There are times for all of those things. But you need to take a step back and recognize when it is time for those things, right?
Yeah.
So if there are any type of fear-based tactics, like if you don't do this, if you don't, you're dumb or what, it's stupid. And a doctor, this is different. If someone is getting like a diagnosis of cancer and it is a doctor who is making a diagnosis and saying, hey, we believe at the rate that you are going, you could pass away within X amount of days or X amount of months or X amount of years. Legally, they have to tell you that, right? But there's a difference between hearing that and then a doctor saying, if you don't do radiation therapy, you'll die tomorrow. It's the only option for you.
Get a second opinion.
Yeah, you can if you want to. Or, yeah, I mean, you can also listen. If they seem really serious, ask them then, why do you think this? Yeah. Can you explain to me why? Because this is obviously very serious. And if they're not willing to tell you or explain to you why, that's the red flag. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there can be little flags within it, but then challenge that if you see a red flag. If you're paying for them for their time, they better answer. And then if they're not willing to, see ya. And then you can bring that diagnosis to another doctor and say, this is what they said. Can you explain to me why they said this? Because they're not willing to, and they're no longer my doctor. And if you're not willing to, you will also not be my doctor. You will also not be my healthcare, holistic health practitioner, my massage therapist, whomever. I don't care.
Fire them.
Yeah, get out of here. You can fire them, and they can fire you.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. And I've fired quite a few clients. I'm sure a few people have fired me. I don't know.
What's the next one?
Number 5. No collaboration with other professionals. So
no one likes a lone wolf.
Yeah, whether it's a doctor or holistic person. Yeah. So a good holistic provider should respect integrative care.
Makes sense.
Not isolate you from all other providers or discourage labs or imagings or second opinions.
Yeah. It reminds me of snake oil.
Yeah. It's almost like a cult. Yeah. It can get really culty at that point. Only me. I am the truth. I am your healer. Absolutely not. Jesus is my healer.
Yeah.
I rebuke you.
It's so funny when people are like Savannah, you're a healer.
I hate it.
I just want to laugh.
Jeremiah sees me cringe. They'll be like, you healed me. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. Literally all I did is go over labs with you. Or like, we just broke down common sense. It's like, no. Or all I did was hook my hand in and you moved your leg around. Like,
Yeah.
that's not me healing you. Okay. Also too, so I would love to hear how other people would put all these into relationships. Actually, maybe I'll do that at the end.
Okay.
We could do it all at the end. Because obviously, okay. Well, anyway, number 6, over promising with no evidence.
What do you mean?
If someone claims that they can cure everything with detoxes, cleanses, energy work, without scientific grounding or real results, or, you know, because people will be like, well, they had a bunch of great reviews. Anyone can fake reviews.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as a person who only has 5-star reviews across the board on every single website that I'm on. Anyone can fake that. It's really bad how easily it can be faked. But just without any real results, just beware of false hope. Putting your hope into imperfect people who could be wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
And that's why I tend to only really go by people who have one-on-one experience with people and have recommended them to me. And a lot of my clients only tend to go to people that I recommend to them because they know I have vetted them. I have gone to them. I have experienced them. And if I like that person, I recommend that person.
Yeah.
Here comes the last one. The big kahoni. They disregard any emotional or spiritual or lifestyle factors. So I know this sounds ironic for holistic practitioners to only treat physical stuff with herbs and supplements, but a lot of people do. And they tend to neglect the emotional aspect of what you're going through currently or any type of mental things you're going through. And on the spiritual side, right? If you're going through things with the Lord and like true, I'm not meaning woohoo spiritual, but I also say for me, a red flag is woohoo spiritual stuff, energy work. But all of these things are central to holistic healing. And people don't realize that, especially Christians. I feel like Christians often overlook the aspect of giving it to the Lord first, asking him his will and his desire in any type of physical healing. I mean, Paul did it. Paul asked God, like, please heal me of my stomach ailment. And God straight up said, no.
Yeah.
You're going to have this for the rest of your life. Job did it. Job asked, why? Why am I going through all these things that I'm going through? And God, in his perfect timing, responded and healed him through those things. Jeremiah also had pain and trials and physical ailments that he went through. And then Jesus. That's a great comparison. Think about Jesus and his physical trials that he had to experience. But there was a time and a purpose, and obviously it was a little different because he knew why from the get-go. Hence why he was sweating blood.
Only he knew.
But what I'm saying is, even he made it clear, right?
I think Job's a great example, though, because before he went to God and before the boils and all that on his skin and stuff from head to toe, Job just went out there and he's like ripped all his clothes off and he's like, God, take me back. I'll go to the womb, wherever.
Yeah, what was I struggling with?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He made it very personal. He didn't blame other people. And that's why other people just started blaming him. Like, yeah, you must have sinned.
Yeah.
You must have done something. And he was like, I didn't. But if there is something I wronged, like, please, God, tell me. I'm broken and I'm hurting and I'm sad. But I'll never betray you. I'll never walk away from you.
But you don't need to know all the stars in the sky and the sand.
Oh, yeah. The answer he got was so humbling. It's just insane. So now I want to break this back down again with like dating or even like friendships.
Okay.
Right? I want to go through 1 through 7 really quickly. Just a quick little shindig. So 1, no clear timeline or exit strategy.
When am I getting married? I need to know. Come on. When's that ring coming?
No, but really though, if you're dating or you've had even just a really close friend in your life for a long time and there's no clear timeline of like what they're going to be doing with their life or why you're involved in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's the purpose of your friendship? What's the purpose of the relationship that you're in? Why is it in your life?
Yeah. It is really hard to watch people who just sit there in their own life and it's like nothing's changing. And it's like, you got to do something. You got to do it for the Lord. Like,
yeah, the same complaints over and over and over again.
What's the next one?
So excessive supplement pushing.
Okay.
So I would take this as just excessiveness or excessive pushing of anything. You notice that the person that's in your life tends to have really high highs and really low lows.
Okay.
Just excessiveness. There's not like an even consistency of them like, okay, this is like a purpose and a season here. It's just always extreme drama, extreme. Like you can't tell that they came out of something and then they're on to a new.
I can see that. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Number 3, one size fits all protocols. So when this person takes the same situation, like, oh, okay, this is how I speak to Derek. This is how I speak to John. This is how I speak to my sister. This is how I speak to my dad. This is like no individual.
No filter.
No individual relationships.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the same, again, that same kind of blank, like there's no true intimacy and diversity in their relationships. And that's how they treat God, ultimately, right? And then 4, obviously fear-based tactics. So anything that's manipulative or fear-based, like stay with me, I feel like I'll commit suicide. Anything like that is obviously unhealthy and not okay. Any type of abuse, that type of stuff. Putting it into 5, no collaboration with other professionals. Well, if this person has no friends that they can go to, and
not just friends
or community,
no church community,
no
leaders, no
elders,
they're not discipling anybody,
being
it's a red
discipled.
flag.
That is a red flag. And maybe too, we can give grace. Someone might be in a season of like, they're at a new church or they just moved somewhere, or
they're a new Christian, they're still learning the walk.
Exactly. But if there's no effort to find that, then that's also a red flag.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. 6, over promising with no evidence. These tends to be people who over exaggerate, or maybe, I don't know.
They're always trying to increase their image.
Yeah. It's very much about me, myself, and I, and not about how can I serve you? How can I love on you? There's not a lot of humility in this person's life.
Yeah.
Again, friends or in a relationship, dating and or married. The last one, a disregard for emotional, spiritual, or lifestyle factors. I think that's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But the most important one being your spiritual walk. If they don't care about you enough or love you enough to hold you accountable spiritually and have the hard conversations, they don't love you at all. And that's one of the things that I was talking about with, I'll use the one person specifically last week. When I was checking in with her heart, like, why are you talking to me about this?
Yeah.
What's the reason why you're offended? Because it just sounds like you're mad at the president. And you just want to you're like mad at me as a Christian for saying that I agree with certain things that he's doing. And I was like, I don't love him. I don't think he's the best in the world. I don't think any president has ever been the best in the world. I could care less. I care about you.
Yeah.
Like, I care about your hurts. So what are you hurting about right now? What are you angry about?
Yeah, the best thing you do is always do a heart probe and try to help them come back to the Lord in that way. I really do notice as Christians, we're called to be leaders. And as a leader, you have to learn how to have a candid conversation and just be honest with each other and love each other and serve each other. And you got to stop making it about yourself. The Bible doesn't say anything about self.
Well, it does.
It rejects it. It's not. It never promotes self.
Yeah.
It's always love God, and then love your brothers and sisters as you love yourself. And if yourself loves God, then you don't love yourself.
What? If yourself loves God, then
if you yourself loves the Lord and you're putting the Lord first and you're serving everyone else in your community, that is the way you're loving on yourself, but it's not about you.
Okay. That made more sense.
My brain.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, it's love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then love one another as you would yourself.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. A lot of people don't truly love themselves because they don't actually go to the Lord in repentance.
Yeah, you
They're
have
not
to sit there and be discipled and listen.
They're not humbled enough at the end of the day to really sit and be still and say, wow, I am wretched. I need a savior. Today, what are the things that I did that were actually truly loving and sacrificial? And your whole life doesn't have to be a sacrifice. Like, you can have some indulgences too. But this is the thing. Someone who is, like right now, a bunch of Ethiopian Christians were just banished out of Ethiopia. And they're alone right now in the desert, like thousands of people. What do you think that their indulgence would be right now versus mine here? A cup of water, food, shelter.
Yeah. Staying warm tonight.
Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea. Maybe not being attacked by a lion. I don't know how it works there. But if they're traveling thousands of miles in the desert for safety because they just got rejected out of their country, that type of comfort and what they need, even food, water, all those things at the end of the day, that's not going to comfort them because it's only sustaining for a moment. It is only God that is going to comfort them.
Yep.
And how easy is it to be distracted here by all of the things around us when we don't realize, like, all really to sustain our lives, we truly only need the Lord. That's it. And he will give us what we need. And if that means that we need to come home to be with him, that's exactly what he needed, what he wanted, which is what we need and what we want.
You shall not want.
Yeah.
Right. Psalms 123, I think it is.
I have no idea. But what I'm saying is, like, are you willing to actually say that at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And I asked actually people today on Instagram. All right, here, let me look up the question. Let's find it.
It is interesting though. Even when we have everything that we could possibly really need, and we have all this knowledge and all this food at everywhere, we still want more.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah.
So that's what I asked today. I said, what is it that you're quietly waiting for, believing that you'll finally be happy when or if it comes? I'll say it again. What is it that you're quietly waiting for? So, like, in the deepest corners of your heart, that you really believe I'll finally be happy when or if this comes.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, if it isn't God and God alone, then you have some repenting you have to do. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. Jeremiah is not perfect at it. But it's just, that's the question of the day.
Mm.
And
it's actually the question inside of my Bible study for this Friday for Job chapter 1, 2, and 3. What do you want? What will make you feel complete? It's a crazy, sad question.
Well, you got to think about your wants versus what you actually need. Yeah. And that's the humility part of it. So I pray that this was humbling for you guys to hear, whether this worked for you more relationally or for holistic health. I wanted you guys to have all of this and to be able to use it in your life, because I've been kind of pooped on lately about living this way and how, I mean, I could have made way more money these past few years doing what I do if I worked the way that most people work, even people that I worked right alongside of. But there's a reason why they're offended by my work, and it's because they see the same people every week, and nobody gets better. So, I don't want you guys to ever be stuck like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you guys have to realize too when you have that dependence on someone because you don't actually want to get better. And I do. I have some clients like that, but I call them out and I tell them, hey, I love that you keep my business running. Thank you. But you'll forever be a cash cow for me until you do X, Y, and Z. And I will tell you that every time you're in here. And guess what? Most of them don't last long because they don't like to hear it.
Yeah.
So I pray you guys saw this episode as casting seeds. Thank you, honey, for coming back as the co-host.
Absolutely.
It's nice when you're on.
It's fun being on, and it is getting more time consuming between work and everything else going in our lives. And
Yeah, preparing.
It's interesting on the direction God is leading us.
Yeah, I know. Keep praying for that, you guys. We can explain more of that next week. But until then, please be praying for Penelope and her health and my health, because it's been a little up and down this past week. Please be praying for Jeremiah to have energy, because he's got a lot of stuff to do. Because I can't help as much. And until then,
keep casting seeds, everybody. We love you.
We hope you enjoyed learning how to cultivate God's creation from a biblical perspective. Holistic health is to prioritize whole person wellness through Christ. Like and comment on what topics we're casting seeds or casting pearls.
If you found this information provided useful, subscribe to our podcast for future updates, leave a review to help us improve, and share this episode. We would like to remind you before we leave that perfect health cannot be attained in this world.
Only spiritual salvation through sanctification and repentance to God and turning away from sin